Hey everyone, it's Joan here, and today's video is going to be a Q&A just because I feel like I haven't spoken to you and I feel like I haven't updated in a while, and so I put up this thing where you could just submit questions to me over through Instagram the other day, and then I literally printed it and put all your questions in this mason jar because I hate being on my phone, so I thought it would be more random to just have the questions in a mason jar and I could just answer them like that. So here it goes. I have no clue. Please bear with me. So the question is, what do you like to do to de-stress? That's a good question. I think I have a very hard time de-stressing and relaxing because I'm always doing something. But something that I like to do is go for a walk. As cliche as that sounds, I really enjoy going out for a walk with my dogs. I feel that I am able to clear my mind. I used to not do that so much, which is weird. I felt that I was always subconsciously thinking about everyone around me, which I still find it difficult till this day, but getting better at it. And I really enjoy watching skate videos. I use that as a way to de-stress from whatever it is that is going on in my life. I think that watching people do skate tricks and just learning about skate culture really is a good distraction for me because it's something that I'm really interested in right now. And trying to think, what else do I do to de-stress? I read books. I'm so happy. After school, all I wanted to do was just read books and watch movies and shows that I haven't been able to watch because I've been so busy. So I've been catching up on reading and watching a lot of things that I've been wanting to watch, and that has been helpful in de-stressing. However, when I watch something, it can also be stressful because for years I've been analyzing movies, and I was telling this to my friends the other day, and so sometimes it could be stressful to watch a movie. But if it's a movie that is well done, for example, or sometimes it could be very entertaining and funny, I could de-stress watching that. Next question is from Han. When your headspace isn't right / positive, what do you do to get on track / happy? These questions are very similar, except instead of de-stressing, it's what do I do to be happy? I feel that most of the time when I feel not myself and I feel like I'm going off track, and in order for me to feel balanced again and be happy, it's been an ongoing journey. I still will never know if I'll ever find the equation, but I have found things that have worked for me, and I believe Han would agree. Working out and exercising helps a long way, even if it's just 30 minutes. Just doing that really helps with releasing endorphins, and that just, as I've said, sounds cliche, but it really does help. Just moving your body. It doesn't have to be necessarily going to the gym, but moving your body really helps you just not stay in the same mindset of negativity. Another thing that I do is really just close off, not in a sense of isolating from the world, even though my inner circle of friends could attend to that. I would just say that it's good to just have a state of solitude to yourself and just literally process and think over what it is that will make you happy. I think sometimes we get clouded with so many distractions and things in our life that we think all of those things make us happy, but we don't really sit with ourselves and really think about what it is that we truly want at that very moment. And I think we should listen to our body, because sometimes our mind is so wired and we don't listen to what our body is saying, which could be simple as sleep, but we always think we need more. And so I think we just need to be attuned to ourselves for not even a long period of time, just at the moment, and ask ourselves really what we want, because it will tell you what will make you feel better. There you go. Favorite band / musical artist. I get this question a lot during my Q&As. I don't know. I feel that most of my friends don't like the music I listen to, so I'm always surprised when people ask me this. I don't feel like I'm a musical junkie in a sense where I know a lot of bands and artists. But anyways, to answer the question, I've been listening to a lot of Dayglow lately. It's one guy with a band, but you would think that he's not going to be called Dayglow. I don't know the reasoning behind it, but his music is very upbeat and retro feel, and I would listen to that. That always puts me in a good mood, talking about being happy. Another band I've been listening to is Turnover. They haven't been making any new songs, but I found them on Spotify and then learned how to play one of their songs on my guitar, and that's an ongoing song that I like listening to. And what else do I like listening to? There's nothing really that I've been stuck on. It's always just been Lainey, 1975, sometimes Phineas. Anything that has very sad, meaningful breakup songs, I guess. That's always my genre. And luckily, lately I've been listening to some upbeat music to just start the day. But I always find myself listening to sad love music later on. I feel like that's such a typical Filipino thing. Okay. Oh man. My reaction gives it away. If you could use those big comedic boxing gloves to fight a photo friend, which friend? Question mark. This is from our lovely friend Tim. I feel like he's trying to get me in trouble here. If I had comedic boxing gloves, who would I want to fight? I wouldn't say necessarily I would want to fight them in a violent way. I would probably punch them because I am skeptical sometimes with the things that they put out there into the universe. And I know if someone else got this question, they probably wouldn't answer it honestly. But there are 3 people that I think of when I saw this question. 1 is Jason Hunter, 2 is Brian Burks, and 3 is Vincent Perry Jr. Those are the 3 people that I would want to use the comedic gloves, boxing gloves, and want to punch them. Just because I question sometimes the things that I hear in regards to what they put out there into the universe. And that is my honest answer. But nothing, no hate. I just question things. Next question. Okay. From Nick. Nick is always supporting. Hi, Nick. What's your dream project to direct? I get this question a lot in person. I honestly don't know. Sometimes I think, but I do have some projects that I've been wanting to work on in my arsenal, and it's just timing. Timing is everything when I create something. Sometimes something happens just all of a sudden and I get inspired, and sometimes I feel that certain projects just don't work in the time that we're in right now and it would work later on, or sometimes I have to plan it or shoot it for a long period of time before I even release it. Those give you clues to what are things that I want to work on. But a dream project would probably be something I've always wanted to direct, was a film where the actors are speaking in my language, which is Tagalog. And I would hope that it wouldn't just always be the typical immigrant story where the person comes from the Philippines and goes to America and then supports their family back home in the Philippines. That's like a very overall typical Filipino movie. And I want to direct a film where it's in my POV, being someone who was born and raised here and then being raised by immigrant parents, and just what type of life that has been, which is being a Filipino American in America. And I feel like I haven't seen that yet. It's been more immigrants and just how they've survived and how they dealt with being or trying to survive staying in America, but not actually people born here, and then what that outcome may be. And someone's probably gonna steal that after now that I mentioned that, but I feel like that's a film I've always wanted to direct. This is from Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Do you ever fear of ever not being creative or running out of creative energy? I think when we hung out last time, we had this conversation, and it's just, I guess, another additional to that conversation. I used to think when I was younger that I would lose that creative juice, but I think that I'm someone that's passion. I really am passionate in what I do, and I feel that I'm always coming up with thoughts and ideas, and that makes me want to make things, whether it's film, video, photography, a song, or painting. I always come up with ideas, and I think that's a special thing and rare thing to have, to be able to always have ideas. And I've accepted that, and I learned that special ability of mine is to always come up with ideas, not even just for myself. Sometimes someone has an idea or a thought, or they're skeptical about what works for them, or should they do something, and I'm always like, I have this person to recommend you to. I think you should read this book. I think you should watch this documentary. I always have a whole load of information, and I think that's what keeps me going. I keep educating myself, not in just the things that I'm into, but things that have no clue that I have interest in. I started reading a book about the creator of the Patagonia brand, and it talks about how it started, and literally how someone who just enjoyed fishing and hiking started creating materials to create the company that is Patagonia. And that's a whole side note story, but something like that can inspire me, and literally none of you guys would have known that that would be something I would read. And I just find fascination with people. I think individuals each have a story, and it could sound redundant or repetitive, but each individual has a story, and I feel that you can never have enough stories to tell, and that's why I feel like I never run out of energy to make things, as I find a lot of fascination in things and people and the world, and I just am super open-minded. I think if you are closed-minded and you don't want to explore and grow as a person, then you're limited with the resources and the things in front of you. But if you welcome things and you want to learn more, then it's just endless, and that's just a beautiful thing. There you go. I asked for deep questions. I didn't want typical yes or no questions, so. Okay, here we go. From Visser, when are you moving to LA to complete our foursome all in place? When I first read this question, I was like, the people are going to question, what is this foursome? And that could be literally anything. And so what Visitor means is that we, on a group chat, are 4 people, and we are all photographers and creatives, and we just have this whole banter and conversation about life and photography and what have you. And so he is asking me when I'm planning to move to LA, because they are all out there and I'm still here on the East Coast. Coming soon, TBA, I don't know he knows this, so this is just a random question. Okay, bucket list place / event you want to photograph in the US / the world. Where would I like to go to photograph? Plenty of places. I have a bucket list. Somewhere in my notebooks, I have a ton of notebooks where I wrote down how many places I've been wanting to go to. And for someone like me, I've traveled a lot already. However, I definitely want to travel to. First place I just thought of is Greece. I always want to go there and check that out. Italy is also a lot of European places, Portugal and Germany and Switzerland and all those places, Norway. I really want to go travel around Europe for a while. And I definitely want to go to Africa, which is crazy to some people, but I've always wanted to go to South Africa. I really find amazement and fulfillment when I see photos that were shot there, and that's always been on my bucket list for sure. And I want to go to Argentina because I want to go really close to south of the equator, close to Antarctica. Those are places that I've been wanting to go to. Asia, I feel like I need a break because I've just been very fortunate that I've always gone to Asia because I'm Asian. And even though I haven't gone to every Asian country out there, I feel that there's a lot of other continents that I haven't even explored, and I want to document what's going on over there and then come back. It's like when you know what's home, you know you can always go back home. But other places where you don't feel comfortable is where you grow and progress as a person, and you don't know what it's like over there. And so I feel when it's not attainable, you feel more compelled to want to gravitate towards that thing. Whereas if you know it's something that's always going to be there, then you feel like you don't want to go there. So that is my answer. Places in America? We'll see. I'm not really big on American states. Like, I'm always thought it was interesting to go on a road trip around America, but I'm not itching to do that. So that's why I chose very international places. Okay, next question. Why analog / film? I feel that this question is always the very repetitive question that every film photographer gets, and the answer is always the same, redundant answer as well. And I can easily say that it's because it's for the aesthetic, the look. Digital can't necessarily, they try but not manipulate it in the sense that it really looks like film, that whole spiel. But when I read this question, I thought about it really deep, and I think that I choose film and analog despite having a digital camera still. I choose it because, for example, my project that I am currently working on, and it's done, but there's still stuff to be done. I feel that I chose to capture it all on analog is because when I look at stuff that I've shot personally on film, there's always this essence. There's always like life to it, and I feel like you could find more depth within the photo or the video. And when I see digital stuff, it's technically looks amazing in a sense that everything's sharp and clear, and the only thing that bothers me is sometimes digital, if it's not shot right, it looks flat, and that's where I get all blah about digital. Film can also look flat if you don't know how to really shoot it, but I even catch myself when I photograph stuff on a point and shoot, for example, and it's not necessarily the best composition or whatever, there's still life within the photo. I still feel this gravitation towards it. I feel that it can still look interesting. But a digital photo that just, let's say you just shot it by accident, and those supposedly happy accidents, I feel like a happy accident happens more with film photography over than digital. Digital, it's more like, oh, this sucks. I just delete it and call it a day. Whereas with film, those happy accidents happen more, and I appreciate that more. And the process, definitely the process is a big thing, because with analog, some people are impatient, and that's why, you know, you get a digital camera so you can see the photos right away and then post it, what have you. Whereas with analog, you shoot sometimes, and definitely you don't know necessarily what you shot, if it's the way how you intended it to be, and then you know, develop it and then scan it and the whole thing. And even though it's a whole process, it's worth it in the end. And I've always grew up with the whole saying that, you know, you should take your time, things happen for a reason, and be patient. Patience is a virtue. So I feel that with film, it really just goes with that, what my upbringing is. And digital just seems just so not. I don't know. Okay, there's a 2 question from Atta Jasmine. Hi, Atta Jasmine. Hope all is well. We haven't spoken, but we need to hang out soon. First question, will you always stay in Jersey? Probably not. It's really fast. I never saw myself being in Jersey forever. Jersey is home. I will always say that. I am very proud to be a New Jerseyan. I will never say I'm a New Yorker, even though New York City is very close to where I live in Jersey. And I grew up going to New York City all my life because my dad worked in New York City. But no, very proud being a New Jerseyan. However, I don't see myself living here for the long run. And it's not because I hate Jersey. I just feel that I did my time here. I spent so many years here. And even though I could just live here and then travel the world, which people have said or advised, I feel that I was meant to be someone who just travels to different places. You know what I mean? Like, live in different places temporarily. And that is the life that I want. I just want to not really stay in one place for a very long time. I want to be able to know what it feels like to live in other places and just work. And I think that's what's really amazing with technology, with working remotely. You have the ability to just do that and not just stay in one place because you have to work there and you can't do anything else. And I like the versatility of being everywhere. If teleportation is a thing, that would be my thing. Or if it's not, so that is that. And the next part is, now that you finish school, what's your next goals to accomplish? That is another repetitive question that I get all the time lately, and that's because of all these transitions that have been happening for me in 2021. And as much as I'd like to share what's going to happen to me in the future, it's not going to be said in this video yet. I feel I'm gonna wait it out. All I can say is that I'm just looking forward to the next chapters of my life. I feel that people have been following me since the longest, since high school, and it's crazy to think that in my 30s it's just going to probably be a whole nother roller coaster of events, and I'm looking forward to it. And all I can say is probably it's all going to be very career based, and I just have a lot of things that are coming up, and I'm just very grateful. And but Jersey is not in the cards. That is all I can say. And next goals I want to accomplish, just travel more, work on more projects. I'm a freaking workaholic. You know that. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. Here's another question. Whose work is currently inspiring you? This is a hard question just because I feel that I've just been stuck in a bubble lately. I've just been doing my own thing, and that's just been me. I don't really follow that many people on Instagram for that reason too. I don't like looking at so many people's work, not because I don't support. I just feel that it's just very cluttered on Instagram per se, and I feel that I get lost in the clutter. I don't like looking at stuff like that. And I've just been, like I said, following or catching up on shows and books that I've been wanting to read, and I think that's what's been inspiring me. I feel that I've been watching more documentaries lately, and I wouldn't say they inspire me per se. I just feel that they just are entertaining to me. And I would usually just pick a particular person and I would just dive through their catalog of work, and then that just becomes a phase and then move on. But there's no one that currently inspires me. It sounds so sad. I feel that I've just been in my own world, and there's just so many things that I've been wanting to do, but school was in the way and I just didn't get to really pursue the personal stuff that I've been wanting to do. So I think once I backtrack and do not all, but some of the things that I've been wanting to do, then maybe I'll get inspired again. I think I've just been so burnt out in a way that I'm not inspired, but I'm inspired in the stuff that I already kind of have pre-production in the works, if that makes sense. That was super complicated. Okay, next question. Okay. Photography helps with my chronic mental illness. Should I solely rely on it for happiness? I would say no. Nothing should solely be your pursuit of happiness. And why I say that is because I am one person that used to think like that. I used to feel that whenever I was sad, I would just solely use photography as my crutch. And I would do photo shoots every day. And I think that's why I'm at the level that I am. People ask that question a lot too. And I mean, I used to just photograph like 5 photo shoots in a week. And I loved it. I don't regret it at all. And then I would edit at night, and then I would do it again the next morning. But it was like my addiction. I just always used photography to distract myself from all the sadness that I had. And I think that is not necessarily the way. I mean, it's better than doing drugs or drinking alcohol or what have you, but any form of addiction is not good. And I'm talking to myself too, and I'll probably watch this video one day. And photography is a good way to get creative and just pretty much make stuff. Or for me, it's literally, as I've said in my Ilford video, it's my visual language to show people what I mean, because sometimes I'm always talking and people are not listening. And I really learned that from watching my mom. My mom is not the best and fluent in English, and so, but when she watches my projects, it's like a light bulb in her head where she's like, oh, now I understand what you were trying to say. And it's because for some reason, maybe perhaps I'm better showing visually than saying it verbally. And like I said, you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. I learned that hard way from my dad. He told me never have a bank account in one bank. And that's why I have not one bank account. But it's just because if you get used to that one thing and then something happens and that thing does not exist anymore, let's say photography doesn't exist anymore, what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna not live? And so it's good to have different outlets, and they might not be as superior as photography, but at least you have a go-to than just pursuing it all in one thing. And you wouldn't have so much disappointment because you put all of your energy towards that one thing. And so, and it's good to have multiple things going on in your life, because then you have other things to look forward to when photography doesn't work out. But that doesn't mean that you can't use photography as a higher tier, in a sense that it's something even stronger than, let's say, going in a gym or eating out. I don't know what hobbies people have anymore. But for me, okay, let's use me as an example. This gets deep. Okay, so like I said before, photography was my thing. It's still my thing, but I used to use it just solely as the thing that would not cure everything, but was what I would go to whenever I was sad. And I'm also diagnosed with chronic depression. And so photography, shoot, you know, be invested in that life. And then I crashed, had a sabbatical, meaning I took a break. Didn't want to do anything photography related. You're gonna end up in that position if you keep just solely focusing on photography. And then even though your skills get better and you might be the most amazing photographer now at this point, you just feel empty. You feel alone. You feel like you need something more in your life to fulfill you. And then you get lost again because you're like, I thought photography was that, and now you don't know. And so for me, I literally traveled to the point that I moved to another country for 3 months to find myself. And even though I was taking photos and stuff, still it wasn't to the same amount as 5 times a week. And I just learned and invest in other people's lives and cultures, and it'll just happen for you. Whatever that other activities that you will find meaning to. But don't beat yourself up if you don't know what it is now. I think something that we're all guilty of is that we all hope that we'd find an instant solution in anything, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's to finish a project. We just want to know the instant solution. And life wouldn't be life if you knew all the answers. And so just take time, day by day. That's the biggest phrase that I always have repetitive in my mind. Take it day by day. And if you are consistent, which is always the biggest struggle, being consistent gets you to where you want to be. And I'm not saying being consistent in photography, being consistent in trying to figure out what works for you. But if that's what fulfills you and makes you happy, is to go out there and live your life, and other people are going to stop you and make you think twice, then maybe these are the people that should not be in your life. And if you're just stuck in your head about things and you're stopping your own self, then you're not doing yourself justice. So I think you should just take it easy and process and think to yourself what it is that will make you happy. But photography definitely is not going to be the sole answer to happiness. It's not. There's not that one thing that will solely make you happy. And if someone tells you that, they are wrong. So there you go. Okay, next question. If you could live anywhere, where would you live and why? Does photography play a part? Okay, let's see. If you could live anywhere, where would you live and why? If I could live anywhere, where would I live? I think I would love to live somewhere near a beach. I always there's a place, I can't even think of the name, so it's like, feels like not true. Why would I always want to live here if I can't even think of the name? But I definitely always want to live somewhere in Italy. I want to live near a coastline and just be under the sun and eat great food and just relax, in a sense of I don't have to worry about too many things going on in my life at that time, and I just would know the locals. That's where I would want to live right now. And photography would not, I would say photography would not take a huge role in where I want to live, unless it's like the middle of nowhere where I have no access to Wi-Fi or technology, or a city. It has to be a city. I think that's what's more important. Me living in a city and not living in the middle of nowhere, or else I'm going to go insane. Because I'm a city girl through and through. Okay, last 2 questions. What is something you thought you could never do and have done it, or need to do to grow? What is something you thought you could never do and have done it? Okay, well, that first part, easy. I never thought I would live in another country. Never thought that I'd travel around the world by myself. Never thought I would be on a plane by myself. I remember when I first rode an airplane by myself, it was to see a boy. Never thought my parents would let me do that, but I did it. And we're not together anymore. But that's besides the point. I never thought I would own my own car. Never thought that I would land a video for Ilford. I never thought that I would touch people's hearts with the things that I make. Never thought I would have a YouTube channel where people would be actually watching. There's so many things that I never thought I could do or accomplish, but I did it. And I have to remind myself, because sometimes I'm always thinking that I'm an imposter, but then I realize that I've done so many things and I need to give myself more credit. And what's the next part of this question? Or wait, what what is something that you thought you could never do that you have done it or need to do to grow? Something I never did but I needed to grow. I think that's just the next chapters of my life. Those are going to be the things that I never thought I would need to do, or I thought I always needed to do, but I haven't done it yet, but I need to do it in order to grow. And like I said, can't share what that's going to be yet, but that is the answer to this question. Okay, last question. What are 3 tips you would give to a beginner photographer / filmmaker? First would be to read. And what I mean by that is that I think a lot of people get into the hype or the trend of whatever XYZ photographer is using camera, and I think they don't read, in a sense that they don't ever invest in reading manuals. Hey, I actually read camera manuals. I actually find fulfillment reading those. I don't like to just watch YouTube videos and get the easy route of figuring out what I need to know about a camera. So I feel that people need to read more and do the research into figuring out what they want in a camera, because I think people just jump the bandwagon and they buy what they instantly see someone else is using, and then they realize it's not for them, and then they end up selling it or wasting money, or they feel disappointment, all of that, and then it's a whole thing. And yeah, that could be part of the process of you figuring out what works for you, but I really feel that if you read, then you would just pretty much avoid all of that altogether. So that's my number 1, read. Number 2 tip would probably be assist. I would really recommend assisting or shadowing another photographer, filmmaker, what have you. There's different other types of jobs on set. You don't necessarily have to be the main person. I know everyone wants to be the primary shooter, but I think that I learned the best from learning from others. And so I feel that even though there's a lot of people who proclaim being self-taught, which there's nothing wrong with that, I think you learn more also by learning from other people. So I feel that you need to put yourself out there and go on other people's photo shoots and ask them and be respectable and just learn. You don't even have to shoot, you just have to help out, and you learn from their mistakes or what they did right, and then you could use that in your own shoots. And I think that's what I did many of my early years when I was in high school, and when I started out in my early 20s. I assisted a lot until I figured out what it is that I wanted to do. So read, assist. Okay, number 3. What is my number 3 tip for a photographer, filmmaker that is a beginner? So you read, and then you would assist, and then, oh, okay, easy. Just do it. Literally like the Nike hashtag. Because I think a lot of people have ideas, and I get this all the time. Joan, how do you do this? How come it works for you? Why it hasn't worked for me? How come this and that and that and that? A lot of complaints. And the honest answer is because people don't want to do things. People expect things to be handed down to them. And for me, I learned from my dad that things start from the bottom. If you want to get somewhere, you should start being a dishwasher first before you become the CEO of the restaurant, whatever he used to tell me. And I always had those in my mind. If order I want to be somewhere, I need to start from the bottom and then just go there. I'm never going to assume that I have that connect where they're just going to automatically give me the job that I want. Like, sometimes it's nice. Sometimes once you finally have the portfolio where people look at it and they just are like, wow, this person is really great at what they do, then of course I'm going to just hire them from the gun. But if you don't, you can't just assume that someone's going to do that right off the bat. So I feel that you should definitely just start making things, and don't get mad at yourself if you don't have X and Y, Z equipment. I feel that you should just make the things, use the things that you have, and make stuff from there. Practice, and then you will definitely improve. And then from then on, it'll just grow from there. And that's why I go back with saying being consistent, because people don't like to be consistent. They just get excited from the beginning and then they fall off. And that's in anything that you do. It doesn't have to be photography or filmmaking related. And then they question why they aren't where they're at. Speaking of someone as myself who would do photo shoots like all the time, consistently, because I just use that as my crutch or my coping mechanism to feel better about whatever it is, negativity, depression, sadness I had. I also wanted to get better. I wanted to progress. I wanted so badly to start getting published and get noticed and recognized. And that was my drive too. So like I said, read, assist, and then just do it. Make stuff. Because if you wait on someone to hire you because you're all in it for the money per se, and you never get hired, and you never just make stuff, you just have all these ideas and you're all talk, which is a lot of people, a lot of creatives like to talk, but they never make stuff, then you'll never get to where you want to be. And so for me, I don't talk, I just freaking make stuff. And then people notice. And then that is honestly the amazing story of Daft Punk, if you know them. And they just made the music that they made. They weren't doing it because they wanted necessarily to get the money. They did it because they just found it entertaining to be DJs and making music and getting people to dance and stuff like that. And then they got recognized, and now they're like this whole, international sensation. There's a whole documentary about Daft Punk somewhere. I don't remember what it's called, but I remember watching it. So that's just what my 3 things are. Again, read, assist, and just make stuff. Just do it. Don't be lazy. Don't look at the other person and question why you're not there yet. You'll eventually get there if you are consistent. And so those are all the questions that you guys asked me. The mason jar is empty now. And I just want to say thank you again for watching. Hopefully some of the answers were answers to your questions that you may have. And looking forward to the next video. Sayonara. It's the end of the video, so don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, it will help me in the long run. Okay, bye.